Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks. This is episode 100 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration. And yeah, it's episode 100. Well, I would say that I have already launched my most advanced ships and they are en route, but we have one missing piece of the puzzle. And that is Karbonite. As you can see, we are slowly converting Karbonite here on the surface of Minmus, but our flotilla that has been launched to Duna is missing such a ship that can mine and take what it has mined to the orbit. Now, given the fact that I'm launching that ship further away, I need it to be slightly different. I mean, this one would also do the job, except that I'm not confident if it would, when reaches the atmosphere, if it would have any delta V left. So, if we look on Duna, it has 2.6 and 2.5 thousand delta V. So, if it takes, I don't know, 1,000 or something delta V to get up, then I would argue that you are missing a little bit more fuel. Anyway, so that's why I have decided to base my Karbonite miner off the actually one orange tank. So I will have to do a similar design. So we want to put some Karbonite tanks at the bottom, and I'm already worried that this will be a little bit too tall of a lander, but once again, what can you do? I mean, Duna has low gravity, so we might just get away with it. Okay, let's see now. What I want to do is I was thinking of putting like 4 of these guys, and they have good thrust to weight but not the best fuel economy, so I was thinking rather let's put like 2 tanks like that, or maybe even 4 tanks like that, and then maybe put engines behind these guys. But yeah, let's go like different route. Let's take 2 by 2. Okay, so we have 4 Karbonite tanks for the stuff being mined, and I want to put the engines somewhere without extending the height of this lander too much. So Karbonite drills, we want 2 of them. Come on. Let's see. Karbonite distiller, converter. Oh, this is too big. Logistics hub. Yeah, that would be nice, kind of, to ferry stuff to and from the station. Landing legs. 2 here, 2 here. That would basically extend the base. And that's something that I'm hoping actually to accomplish. Now, that being said, we need the engines. And we need the converter. Now, converter, I actually like the 2.5 meter one. I was thinking it would be kind of cool to actually put that one underneath. And I'm comparing the smaller one versus the bigger one in terms of economy. And it seems that the bigger 2.5 meter one has way better economy of amount of carbonite being converted to the fuel. So I'm actually thinking that I might decide to ditch the bottom fuel tank and instead put the converter. Or I should put like 2 of these guys. That's a good question. Actually, I might go a different route. Let's go it like this. Converter here. 2 distillers on each side to convert to monoprop, I guess. And then 2 of these guys, which would be like the side tanks. Okay. Cool. That being said, I have a feeling we might want to recheck what else can we put here now. I am looking for one special component, and that's basically RTG. And I'm talking about near future electrical RTGs that should hopefully provide enough juice for this refinery to even work when it's in the dark. But we have 4 huge solar panels, or not huge, but fairly big and beefy solar panels that should also ensure the good operation. Now, that being said, I'm trying to find... Well, this self-destruct, I have seen that it proved useful when doing the initial tests and stuff. I mean, it's always a good way of disposing the ship rather than just going to the tracking station and deleting it. So far I like the design of the lander, but I feel I'm missing something. And that something is, well, go figure. It's the engines. And I'm trying to find a good engine to actually... How would I then be... If I put the engines here, well, then landing legs kind of lose their purpose now, don't they? So if I put the engine something along these lines, then I could put the legs somewhere else. And the thrust to weight is 1.44, but the delta V is 6.5, meaning that hopefully we should get up to the atmosphere with sufficient fuel in the tank that actually to matter. Now, that being said, okay, it's a little bit too narrow for my taste, so let me just quickly think of something. Should I put additional engines? No. We already have enough thrust to weight, so... Carbonite drill, let's put 2 drills on each side. And then we need to think about the landing legs as well. So, and I'm trying to figure out how will I ever attach the landing legs, because now I have occupied 2, so I only have 2 here. Not the most stable. So let us try and think of something smart, guys. We could in theory put the drills here. And hopefully it should drill because it's attached to the carbonite tank, which is even more efficient. And with that being said, we can actually put 4 of the landing legs, which when extended they should provide enough to be able to stand on its own feet. However, the base is a little bit narrow, which kind of is a little bit disconcerting when thinking about it. And I'm thinking about, guys, actually doing the first test. So I'm just now adding mandatory components that I would actually need to, well, simply to do the test. Now, SAS we have, RCS fuel we have, and I believe we will need some RCS thrusters. And I'm just positioning them so that I can actually also steer using my RCS thrusters. Okay, and somewhere along these lines. Might not be the best positioning, but then again, who am I to question RCS build aid, you know? Okay. Now, I believe that this is correct. Let's simulate vessel in the orbit around Duna. If you remember, Jeb has already been to the orbit around Duna, and we want to simulate it. By the way, I forgot to add like the remote tech antenna and the remote tech probe, and I just figured before we simulate it might as well actually add some parachutes, because that's how we want to land, right? So putting the Duna presets, applying to all symmetry counterparts, making sure that it's big enough, and the deployment altitude I'd like to increase a little bit. And simply see how will this fare. I'll put the solar panels a little beneath. This I'll put also a little beneath. And I want to put a lot of parachutes, because this will be a heavy bugger and we want it to be able to land. So I'm putting different material, different sizes, trying to ensure that it is beefy enough to be able to land. Okay, no, I don't need that many self-destruct devices, that would be really silly. But I wanted to move it so I could add additional 2 parachutes, because we can. Okay, now this is a simulation where I have actually wanted to see how will it work. Will like the miner work, will the re-entry work, will the landing work, etc. So this is one of the few retries that I had, so as you can see, nukes are definitely not providing that much thrust, so thrust to weight wise it does take a while until we manage to secure them to actually change the velocity by a greater deal. Okay, now that being said, our periapsis is already way below the, well, not horizon, so which means we are definitely going down, but okay. Let's align and prepare for the parachute deployment. Extending the landing legs. This is basically a first test just to see how well the tests will run and how well will the ship maneuver. And mind that I'm landing with a full tanks, and that's intentional because I really want to see how in the worst scenario, if I want to land with full tanks, how does it look like? Everything else would be just simply an easier scenario. Sorry. Okie dokie. Now, coming in on the miner design, let's see. Coming in, and the ground is getting awfully close, and it doesn't look... Oh, wow, that was some heavy G-force. And 14 meters per second, perfectly descending ever so slowly with like as many parachutes as possible. It almost looks like a cage from over here. Anyway, 6,300 meters to go, or 2,500 actually above the, well, I wouldn't say above the sea level, but above the terrain. So 1,400 above the terrain. We are slowly descending at 10 meters per second, which I would say is pretty decent of a descent rate. But we want to make sure that we touch down nice and smooth and that everything is working correctly. So that's kind of the landing test. And then we will be doing the launch test, obviously, before we launch this guy. I don't know, actually maybe we won't. Looks simple design enough, right? I don't know, I'll think about it. Anyway, we are closing down. 500 meters. Descending ever so slowly. Roughly around 8 meters per second. And touchdown. And oh, ow. Typical Jeb style landing. Now, while we're already here, let's extract the drill and see if we can mine some carbonite, shall we? Well, it seems that it's working, so let's start the monoprop. Well, it seems that that part is working as well. And which means we will self-destruct this guy. Because it was a simulation anyway. Very nice cleanup. I don't have to go and clean stuff up, but this was anyway a simulation. What we have learned is that our landing bay, or not landing base, is way too slow. So what I wanted now instead is to actually widen the landing bays. So let's see. Actually, we could use 4 of these. couldn't we? Yeah, we could. Because I like the idea of also liquid hydrogen as a fuel. Because some of our ships will be using that for fuel, so we need to be able and capable to refuel that fuel as well. Okay, that being said, now let us design the transfer stage. So the stage that will actually get us to Duna, and actually we should be fine with even this stage, but I'd like a little bit more kick out of my engines to be able to get to Duna, so something along these lines should work beautifully. Once again reattaching, making sure that everything is connected properly. Great, and that leaves us with the design of the lifter to do. So just rearranging the staging, saving, making sure that everything is correct, and let's now do it with the lifter, and then we will do some tests. So Communitron shut down, and let us see. We need to have this remote tech antenna. We need this is actually quite big. Now I'm thinking whether or not the fairings that I have would work with this guy. So this is the 5 meter expanded fairing, and it just might work actually. Wow. Let's give it a shot, shall we? I'm just pushing these guys slightly inwards. I don't want to be pushing them too much, but I guess a little bit is okay. It's just like I've shortened the strap or something. And put these, and oh, the drills are sticking out like a sore thumb. Okay, well, we ditch it. What we will do is instead we will be putting something different. So I forgot also that I wanted a wider base for the landing legs. So I decided, well, when we're already designing a wide lander, might as well actually put some landing legs that are also wide. Because why not? Okay, so let's strut this guy, and I'm almost thinking about not using the fairings, which is something of a scary thought, but well, we'll have to just live with it now, won't we? I had some bugs previously when connecting the fuel lines, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of paranoid reconnecting the fuel lines every time I detach a stage. And right now I'm just looking for some of the landing lights, which would help us illuminate the landing. And yeah, another orange light, like rotating one, because we can, why not? Okay, and just taking another look, making sure everything is correctly balanced, because this guy will need to be docking to the space station. We can never forget about that. And now let us put the procedural fairing, because I don't think anything else would actually suffice. So, where is my aerodynamic? It's not utility, sorry, it's aerodynamic, yes. Procedural fairing, up to the size of 5 meter. Once again attach here, great, and let us put the procedural fairing and see what our bad boy will look like. Okay, it looks like a giant earplug or something. Okay, but we definitely need a 5 meter launcher to be able to launch this bad boy into space. So let's see what shall we put here. I mean, thrust to weight, wow, it's good. And then I realized that I'm watching at Duna. Oops. So now tweaking a little bit, and thrust to weight is 1.07, which is a little bit too low, I would say, and 3.8 of the Delta V, which is also too low, so I'm putting 2 side boosters, and I will be putting another 2 Rhino engines at the bottom, and I think that should pretty much suffice when it comes in terms of both thrust and Delta V. Let's see. Oh yes, and I need to rearrange the fuel flow like that. That roughly puts us at 4.9 thousand meters per second, and starting thrust to weight of 1.35, which should suffice pretty nicely. Okay, strutting, putting some more fins to make the rocket stable, or stable enough. I didn't want it to take any chances, so yes, 5 meter SAS, cool. Let's see if there's anything else I could add. Some monoprop tanks, because this rocket will be a pain in the ass to steer without some monoprop, so putting also some thrusters on the main stage, some Werner engines, and some RCS thrusters here as well, because I want to make sure that these are pretty nimble, so to say, rocket, despite its massive size. Okay. That being said, I think we should be more or less ready to give this bad boy a run pretty soon. So let's put a remote tech antenna and a probe core, just that I can activate it at any point later, and a self-destruct. Why not? However, I don't want to accidentally trigger it by staging, so I moved it to the top stage, where basically it will never get used, hopefully. Communitron, making sure that when we are toggling the communication dishes on the first pass, that we will toggle this one as well. Okay, and let's build a vessel. So we will not even test it, we will just wait until its launch window comes and launch it. We are pretty much confident that it shouldn't be a big deal, right? Okay, I want to minimize the travel time, and I'm now planning another Kerbal to Duna transfer for this particular ship. So I'm trying to find if I can find here one that might fit me. Maybe? It's pretty high on the Delta V total, so I'm not really that convinced, but we might give it a go anyway. Not much to lose, because this is entirely a robotic mission, and we will have our Kerbals over there setting up a command center in the Duna Interplanetary ship. So yeah, I'm trying hard to actually get the one so that I'm within the budget of the Delta V. And let us warp to complete, with that Kerbal to Duna window coming closer in 9 days. And let us roll the ship out, I assume. Another warp to complete. And then I guess we will wait for the daylight, and then we will be proceeding with launch as soon as we get close to our Duna window. So 1 day out, and might as well shrink that a little bit more. 4, 3, 2... Yeah, 2 hours should work fine. Okay, let's launch this bad boy, shall we? Initial good boost off. We're looking good so far. Pretty big rocket, pretty beefy rocket, but going up at a steady pace. 1.64 thrust to weight, looks good enough. We are preparing for the initial booster separation in 3, 2, 1, and separate. Ooh! Oh boy. Fire the engines, fire the engines. Well, I wish I could say that I didn't expect this, But, you know, when you're playing in KSP, you're pretty much expecting anything. And we don't have even enough thrust to weight to be able to go up. Okay, let us test the self-destruct, shall we? And that's how it's done. Oh boy. Now, I have to tell you guys, I had a series of trials and misses with this with this vessel, including setting up both the Separatrons, both the parachutes to actually drag these guys, like drag chutes and stuff. So it took me a couple of attempts until the moment where I actually got to successfully put this small-ish rocket together. Now, okay, just doing some final alignments, and we should be rather this time testing before we actually press build. So, putting some Werner engines, and I'm thinking if I press like 4 Werner engines, that at the initial critical part of the boosting stage is when we actually separate from the main boosters, we will get a little bit of a small kick from the ullage motors that should hopefully secure that everything goes well. Now, typical takeoff, but then again, we were fortunate with that one the first time, so let's see how we will fare this time when it comes to the booster separation. This time I want to be launching straight up. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. So we got a small kick up, and it seems that we are well positioned. We are going over Mach 1 and we are above 15,000 meters. Slightly starting our orbital insertion burn, or gravity turn, sorry. Going up ever so slowly and turning ever so slowly, even worse, because this is a big ass rocket and we don't want to shake it too much now, do we? Okay. And of course the tank of monopropellant is leaking, but the good thing is that it's on its outer shell of the actual rocket, so as soon as we circularize I might consider ditching this part. Okay. Separating the fairing, showing the lander to the world. Let's put a maneuver node to make sure that we do get a nice circular orbit from which we can easily transfer. And I decided to turn on RCS because the tedium was too great to turn this ship as it is right here. So definitely burning for the circularization, and guys, I think once we circularize the orbit, I'm gonna call this for the episode. Because we're closing up on the 30-minute mark. Like if you like the episode, and hit subscribe button for more KSP content that should be coming soon. Okay, let's just test the final stage just to see that everything is working. Seems so. And thank you very much guys for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.